Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions. Charles Starnes, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience.
Thank
I'm
you so much for
super
having me.
excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story,
Right.
and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go all the way up to today, and then let's talk about what you're working on today and or for tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Appreciate
Awesome.
you being here, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. It's a blessing. So
This is
do it.
exciting. So where were you born?
I was born here in San Diego. I was born at a Kaiser Permanente, about like 10 minutes away from my house, Claremont, San Diego, for those who are not familiar with San Diego area. But yeah, I was born at Kaiser at 10:30 a.m. on August 30th, 2002. So
There you go. Did you grow up in Claremont area?
So I kind of moved around a bit. So my dad and mom separated when I was like very young. I couldn't even tell you how old I was. It's before I even remember.
Sorry.
And so, oh no worries at all. And so they separated. So my mom was living at a house that was owned by like my grandparents. And that was kind of Claremont area. It's more like Kearny Mesa area for those who are very familiar with San Diego. And then my dad was kind of everywhere. There was times where we were in El Cajon. There was times where we were in Southeast San Diego. There was time just where there was lulls and moments where we were in certain spots, and then there was other moments where we were in different spots.
Right.
And I saw him every other weekend, and I majorly stayed with my mom more than my dad, and that was in Kearny Mesa. So
Gotcha.
that was like the main area where I was at for the beginning of my life.
So where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Claremont High School.
Okay.
So yeah, that was in Claremont. Relatively small school, which has its ups and downs for sure. Everybody at school knew each other, and that was an interesting thing because everybody knows everything about everybody,
Right.
which is it could be fun. It's a blessing and a curse, I would say. But yeah, very small school. I think our graduating class was like a couple hundred kids, so it was very, very small. And speaking of graduating class, I graduated during COVID, so that was we can get into that in a second, but yeah, that was a very interesting and scary time in life, where not many things were certain. I wasn't even certain that I would be going to college because of that. So
a lot of people were.
So Claremont High School was a big shout out to Claremont High School. I love that place. All the staff there, great people. I got a great education from there, but yeah, very small school.
Yeah, it's cool. So let me ask you a question. What was your favorite thing about growing up where you grew up?
Ooh. Do you mean in terms of like location wise or people wise? Because I feel like that's a little bit different.
Actually, all. So
Okay.
all of the above.
So I'll start with location.
Okay.
San Diego, I don't think there's a better place than living here.
Yeah.
I always, whenever I talk to my friends, family, anybody, I tell them it's like the better LA.
Yeah.
I know people people are gonna have their thoughts about that, but LA, to me, this is like a smaller, less busy LA, which I really enjoy this location. And I do think the people here are very open to new ideas, and I think that's another thing that I really like about living here is just the ability for people to be open to new things. And I haven't really encountered too much like disrespect here in San Diego, which when I've traveled, I have encountered some of that, which is interesting. So that's why I love it here, is because I feel welcome here. I think
Yeah,
that's probably the best part about it.
that's cool. So in high school,
Mhm.
did you have a favorite subject?
Okay, so my favorite subject in high school was math.
Yeah.
I was a big math head, and now I mean I couldn't I it switched totally. Math is not my thing as much anymore. But yes, math was my thing. I took like calculus or something in like sophomore year of high school. I was
Mhm.
always ahead in math. That was like my thing.
Yeah.
And then right behind math was probably like science. But so
Okay.
they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, they do.
Hmm.
So what's your favorite subject now?
Favorite subject now would probably be anything that has to do with business. So I guess that it kind of incorporates math, but we're not doing the same like sine, cosine, tangent that we were doing in in high school. Now we're just doing, like we're doing like finance,
You're not
yeah.
graphing as many
Yes,
equations, right?
we're not doing, we're not going crazy anymore, which I like because it was getting to a point where I was like, okay, whoa, I'm like
Yeah,
losing it now. Like
yeah.
this,
Life in the ether, baby.
yeah, it's like whoa. Like I was going to Mars or something with the math
Yeah.
that we were doing. So yeah, now I think it's anything to do with business. Right now I'm taking a class called strategic management, which
Mhm.
kind of like looks and analyzes certain businesses. We look at business moves that have been taken or are about to be taken
Mhm.
and kind of critique whether or not we like those moves, where we could have seen those moves excel more and where we kind of saw their shortcomings.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is kind of where I found my passion is because I like to the strategy and I like the strategy in business. I like that there's no right or wrong way to approach a problem, but you get to see different results depending on how you approach a problem.
Yeah, I
And
agree with
that's
that.
kind
And
of yeah.
it's critical thinking, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
looking at it and going, okay, this is what I think would work best, type thing, right?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
cool. So just
Yeah.
just for the record, you're in your senior year. You're getting ready
Yes.
to graduate here in a couple of months from
Yeah.
San Diego State with a
Yes,
bachelor's
sir.
in business management, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's cool.
So
Proud
yeah,
of you,
senior
man.
year. Yeah, thank you so much. It's a blessing to be here. So,
So growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
okay. I think probably the most influential person to me growing up would probably be my mom, just because she was single mother.
Hmm.
Um, she's a teacher as well.
Hmm.
So I grew up around just the education space in general. Um, and I think that helped me a lot because I mean it pushed me. It really, really, she really, really did push me to be exactly who I wanted to be, not let anybody tell me who I was or who I was going to be
Hmm.
based on my skin color or my background or anything like that. She was very adamant on just do what you need to do and get it done.
Hmm.
And she showed me that every day with like getting off of a 9 to 12 hour day and
Hmm.
coming home and still being ready to go and ready to assist with my needs and assist with what
Hmm.
I needed to do. It showed me that I have no room to be lazy. I have no room um to slack off because if my mom at 40 something years old at the time can be going as soon as she wakes up till the moment she falls asleep, and working hard and doing diligent things, then I have no room to say that I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so that was really influential to me because without her, I mean, I'm not really sure what I would do. I mean, I'm a creative person.
Hmm.
School is not really like something I was always super interested in. I have ADHD or ADD, one of the two. They diagnose you with both when they give you the same meds and everything when they diagnose you with that. But so one of the two, and that was a really big struggle for me in school, was dealing with that stuff. And she was right there to push me every time I was bored, every time I felt like I was just not doing something that was going to actually matter. She was there to be like, nope, you're going to keep going and
Hmm.
you're going to thank me for it. And now by God, do I thank her every day for what she did for me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Shout out
definitely
to
the most
mom, man.
influential. Yeah. Shout out to her. I mean, I feel like a lot of people's most influential person should be their mom. You know what I mean? If their mom's doing it right, it should be their mom. So
Yeah. And we interview a lot of people on this podcast. We're up to
Mhm.
close to 160 episodes, and a lot of people, that's their answer. Is the most influential person of them was their mom. And
yeah,
moms are a big deal, man.
yes, they are.
A big
They
deal.
are.
So
It can
yeah,
be
it's
a
cool.
changing point in your life for sure.
We talk about parenting a lot on this podcast, and
hmm
one of the things that when we started out as a real estate investing finance
Right.
podcast,
hmm
and it's evolved
Right.
into a conversation about leadership, a conversation about the power of questions, and ultimately a conversation about parenting. And it's interesting that business conversations turn into leadership a lot,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because there's a real vacuum where leadership is concerned in this world,
Right.
especially in business and that kind of thing. And parenting, as far as I'm concerned, is sacred leadership.
Yeah. Parenting is
So, your
your
mom was the
mhm.
first leader that
Right.
you had in your life,
Yeah.
and it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, the parents they're kind of the first leader that you get to know.
Mhm.
They're the first example of a leader that you're gonna get
Yeah.
before you go to school, before you see other leaders, before you see leaders in your work and career, whatever it is. A parent is the first leader you get, and so they kind of leave a lasting influence on kind of how you will lead in whatever you do, and just how you see leadership as a whole. So
Yeah.
I think parenting is really important.
Well, you mentioned something that I think is incredibly important for people to hear. And so I want to try and highlight it real quick.
Yeah, sure.
You mentioned that your mom would work, 10, 12 hours a day,
hmm
and then she'd come home and she just, didn't miss a beat, right?
Yeah.
She came home and
Uh-huh.
she poured into you, and
Right.
right? And you said something that really stuck with me, and that is, and this is something that we hear a lot on the podcast, but
hmm
you said something that really stuck with me, and that is, if she can at 40 some years old do 10, 12 hours in a day,
Right.
come home and immediately,
hmm
start investing and pouring into me, I need to be stepping up. I need to be
Right.
getting after it, right? And
hmm
when mom says, you're going to do this, you listen.
Yeah. Oh
She
yeah.
earned the
Uh-huh.
right through her actions.
She
With
proved to me that,
Yeah,
I mean, she didn't need to prove to me, but she did prove to me that there's nothing there's no she has no break. She continues to move, and
but there's a
in that
respect there.
yeah, and I respect that, of course.
Yeah.
hmm
And that much is coming through. You with me?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And what I find fascinating, and we talk about this a lot, but what I find fascinating is parents don't necessarily, there's this phrase, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most damaging phrases in parenting known to man. And the reason I say that is children are literally sponges, and they are literally going to watch, listen, right? And want to be like their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And we show our children leadership, we show our children work ethic, we show our children commitment, we show them resourcefulness
Mm-hmm.
through what we do, not what we say.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You with
Because
me?
actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely, right?
Mhm.
And so I think it's important that parents understand that, and that they hear the message that you're literally communicating here,
Right.
that watching your mom, right,
Yeah.
really prepared you for life.
Yes, it did. It did.
I mean, that's a big deal, man.
That's
So
huge.
make sure
Yeah.
you give your mom a hug and a kiss after this.
I will. I'll let her know that I mentioned her in this as well. She'll
And
be
make sure you
thrilled.
tell her that I'm now a huge fan of hers. Okay.
Okay. I will 110% let her know. She'll be thrilled. So
That's awesome. So where does she teach? What
she
what does she teach? What
teaches,
grade?
she's a third grade teacher
Oh, third grade. Okay.
at Jefferson Elementary School. And funny enough, she didn't send me to the same school that she teaches at because she didn't want me
Ooh.
to be taught by her. She didn't think it would be
Ooh.
fair for
Oh,
other students. Yeah, that's how
isn't
much
that
of a great teacher she is.
fascinating?
Like, yeah, I mean, she specifically said, I don't think it'd be fair to other students if my son was in the class with me because you're
Interesting.
my son. I would want to make sure you excel a little bit more than anybody else. And
She's
so,
thinking.
yeah, she's a thinker. And that's where I get it from,
I
like,
love it, man. So she made the decision because the
Mhm.
easy thing to do would be to have you in her class
Yeah, have
and
me at the
have you in her
school.
school because
Hmm.
she could keep you under her thumb, right? She could pay
Yeah.
attention. She would know from
Uh-huh.
the other teachers
Yeah.
what you were doing, how you were doing it, the whole thing.
Exactly. And she'd be able to kind of pull the strings a little
Uh-huh.
bit and Mike almost I don't micromanage might be a bad word for it, but we'll use it for the just for lack of a better
Well,
word.
but she could keep an eye
Micromanage
on
me
you,
into
right?
yeah, kind of shape me into the way that she wanted to. But
Yeah.
instead she was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let him be him."
So has your mom always taken the road less traveled?
Um, I would say so. Yeah. I would say she always has kind of taken the road
So
less
let me
traveled.
ask you a question. How does that make you feel about your mom? Because here's the thing, right?
Mhm.
If you and I've interviewed a lot of people that their parents were teachers,
Mhm.
and those parents made absolutely sure that their children went to the school that they taught, where
Uh-huh.
they taught.
Mhm. Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is an interesting little twist where,
Yeah.
and not even so little, right? Where
Yeah.
she literally says to you, you need to go be taught by somebody else,
Mhm.
right? That's not your
Right.
mom.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I think
I'm
what
loving this woman, just so
yeah,
we're clear. Okay.
yeah. I'm glad. I'm really glad. And I think ultimately I think her decision looking back was a great decision. And it's
Yeah.
probably if I were to be a teacher and have a son or daughter, I would do the same thing
Yeah.
because I feel like it's important to kind of have that separation
Yeah.
between parent and kid. You like, of course you're my parent. Of course I love you. Of course we see each other every day at the end of the day or the beginning of the day.
Right.
But having that breakaway, and she's kind of we've talked about this before, is having that kind of split where I have my school life and she
Mhm.
has her work life, and those don't have to be intertwined
Yeah.
is good because I see my mom every day, but I don't see my work mom every day. You know what I mean?
Yes. And you know what's interesting? And I
Mhm.
don't know if you've ever, you may have already thought of this. You probably have. But think about this for a second.
Mhm.
How much does that tell you about her and her character,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And one other thing, she has supreme confidence in you
Yeah.
and what she's taught you because, I mean, think about it, right? You're
Yeah.
literally going to a school where she doesn't teach.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And she has enough confidence in me to know that I will do well at that school, even though she's not there, which is that's inspiring. I mean,
Your mom is something, man.
yeah, she is. Yeah,
She
she is.
really is.
You got to get her on here. She
No, no kidding.
she'd be interested. I'm sure she would. So
No
I'll let
kidding,
her
man.
know.
I'd love to have her on. I mean, she sounds fascinating to me. And the relationship she has with you is really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big, and you know, parenting is a big deal,
Yeah.
and it's a real passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to see situations like this where a parent takes that kind of risk, where a parent, feels confident enough in their child, but also confident enough in what they've taught that
Yeah,
child.
what they've done.
You with
Right.
me?
Mm-hmm.
To have that happen. I mean, that's just wow, that is so cool. Okay. Sorry. I just think of
No, you're good. No,
mom.
you're good.
She's the bomb.
Oh yeah, she is.
All right. So you're currently finishing up at San Diego State.
Yes.
getting your bachelor's degree in business management, and then you're going to work for a company,
Sportivo.
right?
Yes.
That we happen to know a little bit about.
Yes, you do.
Are you free to talk about
Yeah,
like what you're going to be doing in the
think,
company and all that?
yeah, I don't have like any, like, I don't have to divulge any information. I can pretty much talk about anything about that company.
Okay.
So we can go into it.
So basically right now, just so full disclosure,
Mhm.
I met you through a friend of a friend.
Right.
Okay, Dave's a good friend of mine,
Mhm.
and Dave is one of the founders of Sportivo.
Correct.
So you know, full disclosure.
Yeah.
When
So
I
everybody
met,
knows. Yeah.
I don't know, a couple of months ago now.
It was a little bit ago, at least a month and a half ago. So
yeah, right. And we, immediately I knew I had to have you on.
yeah.
And we're, I'm going to be working with Dave and with his entrepreneur class and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing some stuff.
Mhm.
Dave's a professor at San Diego State.
Mhm.
But he's the founder of one of the founders of Sportivo.
Correct.
Talk about what Sportivo does, and then talk about what position you're going to have with them once you graduate.
Okay. So Sportivo, what I like to explain to people who don't really understand, because I started off when I first kind of got hired, I kind of explained that it was an AI sports betting company, and everybody was like, "Whoa, what do you mean? Like, that doesn't sound right." But AI and sports betting in the same sentence, people get riled up a little bit, or they so now how I like to explain it, so it's a little bit more clear, it's a data analytics kind of company that uses artificial intelligence to predict sports.
Right.
So we don't actually do any of the betting through our interface. What we do is we do
the handicapping.
We grab we get the users onto our interface. They pay for the software. The AI then week to week, on a week to week basis, kind of takes all the information it's had from years and years past and uses that information to predict what will happen in the future.
And it's thousands of points, right? It's like thousands of pieces, thousands of points of data.
I think I had a business meeting with another one of the partners at Sportivo. His name is Brian, and he was telling me, we just did that yesterday. He was telling me it was doing like 2 million pieces of information, like on a week-to-week basis. It was loading tons.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out calendly.com/Rio760.